Hey, how's it going, folks? This is Jonathan Coast, and in today's free training, I'm going to be showing you how to optimize the website performance that you have using Pagespeed Insights and a few plugins that I have for you. Now, all of these plugins will help do things like reduce the image size and compress the files and images on your site, and then doing stuff like lazy loading, which means that the files and the images won't load up until the visitor or the user looks at that image, saving your site a lot of space and usage, increasing the load times. And the reason why this is important is because it helps you to increase the rankings in the search engines, which in turn ultimately gets you more traffic, which will in turn help you to make more sales. So this is a very important process, and plus it makes the user experience that much better for the people that's on your website. So I'm going to show you a couple of different things. Now, I'm testing out several different websites right now. Now, one thing that's important to know is that Google has two different search engines, one for mobile and one for desktop. So we're going to be testing both of those, and I'll show you exactly how it looks right here. So the first thing that we're going to do is you can go to a website called PageSpeed Insights by Google. And right now I have my main website in here, jonathancoast.net. And when it comes to the desktop search engine, I have a 92, which is pretty good. But unfortunately, when it comes to the mobile, I have a 42, which is not good at all. So there's a lot of changes that I need to make. And as you can see from the insights, it tells you, it kind of gives you a tree map, and then it also shows you things that you can improve on. For an example, like the serve images in next gen formats, was if you click on it, it actually tells you exactly what it means. So image formats like WebP and AVIF often provide better compressions than PNG or JPEG, which is I've normally been using for my website. So using that will dramatically decrease the load times. So this is the insights, and we can use this alongside with the one that comes in our cPanel. So if you have a cPanel, I'll just show you for an example, the one that I have here in Hostinger. So for an example, if you go to your cPanel, and I'm gonna click on dashboard, and then from dashboard, now this is the older dashboard, they just changed into the newer one. So from here, you just scroll down to where you see PHP configurations. Now just keep in mind that this is something that will have an effect on your website. So if you have plugins that are not optimized for any newer versions of this PHP configuration, then you can easily just turn it back to the original form by just going back to the one that your website was already using. But updating your PHP from here can dramatically increase your load times. Now, in my case, I have a lot of plugins in my theme. It's just not optimized for PHP 8.1. So when I did update it, it did kind of nuke my website and make everything look kind of crazy, and everything was all over the place. But if you do this, according to analysts and experts and a lot of different benchmarks and several different resources, when you increase the version of your PHP, it will increase your load times about as much as 50%. So that's something to definitely check out and take a look at. But you can do it from your cPanel in your dashboard, and you just click on the newest version. As you can see, is 8.1. Now, if I do this, if I click on 8.0, it actually gives me a message here that I just wanted you to take a look at. So if I click on update, it'll say changing the PHP version will reset PHP extension values to default. Make sure your website supports PHP 8.0. Some plugins, themes, functions may not work with the latest version. So that's just something to keep in mind. I'm just going to keep it on 7.4 for now. And then also one thing I want to talk about is when you go to PageSpeed Insights, it'll give you a diagnosis down here, a couple of other things that you can look at. But I'm going to share with you some plugins that'll take care of the vast majority of this stuff. Now, I'm working on a website right now called Health and Fitness Tips, and I'm adding different plugins to it. Now, I'm going to give you 3 different plugins, and I have them on a notepad here. So the first one is called FV Gravatar. So if you type in FV Gravatar, you can go to plugins on your website on the left-hand side here, and you just click on Add New, and then you go to where it says Search Plugins, and I'm just going to paste it in. And then the first one that you see here is FV Gravatar Cache. So it moves all images to your website and your server rather than clogging up the visitor server. So if you just go ahead and click install now, this will have an amazing effect on your load time. So I'm just going to click on activate here. And then there we go. And then the next one that we're going to use is one called Smush. So this one automatically compresses all the images on your website and the files to make sure that they're lighter and quicker. So I'm going to click on add new, and then I'm going to go to search plugins and then paste. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So as you can see, it has a lazy load option, which the third plugin that I'm going to be showing you also has a lazy load option. That basically just means that the images won't show up until the visitor actually looks at it, making your site go a lot faster. So lazy load images optimize and compress images. and it just resized the detection. So I'm going to show you the different settings in here and how to optimize each one of these. So you just click on install now, and then once that's done installing, we're going to click on activate. So once that's done activating, we'll go ahead and go to the next one. So W3 total cache. So this one helps your pages to render a lot better and help it to be more interactable when people are on your site. And also it reduces the page's load times. It just makes everything a lot more smoother. And this one is really popular. It's used by millions of different people, and according to a lot of folks, it helps your conversion rates, and it even 10x's your website performance. So I'm just going to show you this one. I'll click on copy, go to add new, and then search plugins, paste that, W3 total cache. And then here we go, search engine optimization and performance via caching, integrated cache. This one's a little more sophisticated, so I'm going to show you exactly how to use all of these. We're going to go through each one of these step by step. So basically, after this is done installing, we're going to click on activate. And once this is done activating, we're going to go through each one of these plugins step by step, and I'm just going to show you each one of the settings. So the first one that we're going to focus on is W3 total cache. Now I'm going to go ahead and just click on settings from here. Now the first thing that we're going to do is, so basically what they're saying here is they're not using your data for personal uses and identifiable information. They're only using it for research purposes. So I'm just going to go ahead and click accept. And then it actually has a tutorial process that I want to show you. So I'm going to click dismiss right here, and I'm going to go ahead and start this tutorial process. So right now it's just saying welcome to the setup guide. I'm going to click on next. And then right here it says the time it takes between a visitor's browser page request and receiving the first byte of a response is referred to as time to first byte. So we're going to test the page cache here, because the W3 total page cache can help you speed up time to first byte by using page cache. Now, we'll test your home page with page cache disabled, and then with several storage engines. You should review the test results and choose the best one for your website. So I'm going to go ahead right now. I'm going to click on where it says disk enhance. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to click on next. And then from here, I'm going to click on test database cache. And we're just going to click disk where it says storage engine here. We're going to click on disk. And then from here, we're going to click on next. Now it's going to say test object cache. Now, once we're done going through this, I'm going to show you the dashboard, and we're just going to go through these settings one more time. And then there's a little bit more stuff that we need to get into. There's a little more detail, but once we're done, it's going to dramatically improve the performance of your website. So I know it's like really technical, but just stick with it. You'll be glad you did. So for the same one here, we're going to click on disk, and then we're going to scroll down and then click on next. So to render your website, browsers must download many different types of assets, including JavaScript, files, CSS, style sheets, images, and more. For most assets, once a browser has downloaded them, they shouldn't have to download them again. W3 Total Cache can help ensure browsers are properly caching your assets. So we're just going to click on Test Browser Cache, and then we just want to make sure that it's enabled. So we have it enabled here, and then we'll click on Next. And then the next thing we'll do is we want to make sure that we have lazy load images enabled here. So essentially, basically what this does is just makes the images not show up until the visitor looks at it. So I'll just read what it says here. Pages containing images and other objects can have their load time reduced by deferring them until they are needed. For example, images can be loaded when a visitor scrolls down the page to make them visible. So I'm going to go ahead and enable that, and then click on next. And now that we have everything set up, we can go to the dashboard, and I'm just going to show you a little quick overview, and then we're going to move on to the next plugin. So from here, all we need to do now is just configure it. That way we can make it operational. So we'll click on where it says here, right there in the middle. So from here, in regards to FV Gravatar cache, this is the second plugin. So we're going to scroll down to where it says Gravatar size, and we're going to put this on 50. Save changes. And now we're going to go back to the plugins, and then go back to W3 Total Cache settings. And then click on settings here, and then go to dashboard. And now we're going to go through this process. So if we scroll down, we just want to make sure that where it says page cache method, it says disk enhance. That's from what we did in our setup. So we want to make sure that we have everything looking as we want it to look. So minify, we're going to go ahead and enable this. And I understand the risk. It's basically just minification. It can decrease the file size of the HTML, CSS, and JS, and this really increases your page load times. So as far as the minify cache method, we can just leave it here as disk, and then we'll go down and then click on save all settings. And then we're going to go on to the next one to where it says opcode cache, and we're going to make sure that it's on opcode zen op cache here. and then just make sure that this is enabled, and then we don't have to do anything here. We can just keep scrolling down. The database cache is just caching databases objects, decreases the response time of your site. Best use of object caching is now possible. The database cache method, we're just going to go ahead and click on this and then make sure it's on disk. And so we're just going to keep scrolling down. And the same thing, this is all set up the same way. The object caching greatly increases performance for highly dynamic sites that use the object cache API. We're going to make sure this is on this, save all settings. And that's all I want to show you in regards to the settings for the W3 proxy for now. You do that and you should be set up good to go. Now, if you want to get into even more nitty gritty in the details and set up some more stuff, I recommend going to their tutorial or clicking on help here. It'll take you directly to a bunch of different frequently asked questions and tutorials that you can go through to just to make sure that you have everything set up. This will greatly increase your page load times. Now, we're going to go back to plugins and we're going to click on install plugins, and we're going to go to the next one, which was Smush. Now, from the box out the go, it's pretty much ready to go, but we're just going to click on settings, and then we're going to begin setup. So from here, it's going to ask us a question. So automatic compression, when you upload images to your site, Smush can actually automatically optimize and compress them for you, saving you having to do this manually. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that's enabled and click on next. And then advanced compression, optimize images up to 2 times more than regular Smush with our multi-pass lossy compression. So we're going to have that enabled and click on next. EXIF metadata, photos often store camera settings in the file, i.e. focal length, data, time, or location. Removing EXIF data reduces the file size. Make sure that that's enabled. Click on next. Lazy load, we're going to disable this because we already have lazy load enabled on our other side, so we don't want those plugins to conflict with each other. So I'm going to go ahead and click on finish setup wizard, and right now it's just doing a performance, it's analyzing, so it just checked the images for us. Now we have everything that we need set up for that. Again, when it comes to this plugin in particular, if you have any more questions or need more information, then I recommend checking out their help section. Just go into their tutorials, and they have a huge library of information. So all you really got to do is just click on documentation up here on the right hand side, and they have an entire school information like course here that you can go through in order to get all the answers that you need. So I recommend doing those and taking those steps, and that'll pretty much be it. So just to recap what we talked about in this video, we can use a website from Google or the Cpanel to look at the page speed insights. So if you go to the dashboard here on your Cpanel, if you scroll down, now they actually just added this for Hostinger, but if you scroll down to where it says page speed, you can do the same thing that I showed you with Google PageSpeed Insights. You can do the desktop option or the mobile option. And since we're using jonathancoast.net, it's just going to analyze this particular website. In regards to PageSpeed Insights, it does the exact same thing. So you do that, and then you can use this as kind of a guide and a reference. And then you can have this video as sort of a resource as well, just to use these plugins as an extra boost to help knock out some of these red check marks on here. So that'll pretty much be it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like content like this, then I highly recommend that you check out my website. In the description, you'll see it, jonathancoast.net. I talk about everything when it comes to increasing sales and generating more traffic. And be sure to look at the tools and the resources below. I have everything in this video that I covered in this training. And with that said, I will see you in the next video. See you then.